Today we're going to be reading Don't Ya? It was written by Kathy Woodyard and illustrated by a good friend of mine, Pamela Thompson. Here's the front and the back. And Kathy's dedication is for my mom, Jean Woodyard, who shared with me the love of story. And Pamela's dedication is for all my grandchildren. Don't ya? One day, Ellie went for a walk. She wandered into a village of tiny little mice. They were so small, she had to move her large legs carefully so she didn't step on them. See all the little mice? The mice were astounded at Ellie's size. Meager the mouse crawled out of an itty-bitty hole to ask, "Don't you wish you were small so you could crawl into tiny places like we do?" "That would be fun," Ellie replied to Meager, "but I'm just the size I like." Ellie then noticed Lolly the lizard lounging in the sun. Lolly felt a slithering snake grab hold of her tail. She dropped her tail and hurried off to hiding. Uh-oh, that doesn't look good. From the bushes, she whispered, "Don't you wish you had a tail you could drop when you were in danger?" Look at her tail, Lolly's tail. And there's Lolly up there in the bushes. Ellie looked at Lolly, at her tail flopping on the rock, and then at her own swatting away flies. "No," she replied, "my tail is just the way I like." Ellie then wandered into the jungle filled with vines hanging from the limbs of trees. Looking up, she saw Marvy Monkey swinging from limb to limb. Looking down at Ellie, Marvy Monkey noticed that Ellie had no hands, and her feet certainly couldn't help her swing from limb to limb or perch high in a tree. Marvy asked, "Ellie, don't you wish you had tiny little feet to help you swing on limbs high above the ground?" Ellie admired Marvy's feet, but replied, "No, my feet are just the way I like." Just then, a red flower floated down from above Ellie's head. She looked up once again. Next to a nearby tree was a giraffe standing with its long, thin legs and its tall, reaching neck. Gigi the giraffe was eating her lunch as she munched on leaves on the top of the tree. Looking down at Ellie far, far below, Gigi asked, "Ellie, would you like some of my lunch? And don't you wish you had a long neck like mine so you could eat high up in the trees?" "Thank you, Gigi, but I'm not hungry," Ellie replied, slowly shaking her thick neck back and forth. "And my neck is just the way I like." Ellie then wandered to the edge of the jungle where she saw the large blue ocean with gentle rolling waves. A baby whale named Wallop came to the surface and showed off his shiny, smooth skin. "Ellie!" Wallop cried out before dipping back under the water. "Don't you wish you had skin as smooth as mine?" Looking down at her wrinkled skin, Ellie replied, "No, Wallop, your skin is beautiful, but my skin is just the way I like." Then, just as Wallop dipped back under the water, Octavius the octopus came to the surface. "Ellie!" Octavius called out, waving all 8 arms. "Did you know I have 3 hearts? Don't you wish you had 3 hearts too?" Impressed, Ellie replied, "8 legs and 3 hearts, that's wonderful, Octavius, but I like my one strong heart just the way it is." Ellie wandered back into the jungle and headed toward her home. She found Terence the tiger lying in the sun, ears swiveling toward Ellie as he heard her approach. "Ellie," Terence said, "don't you wish you had ears that could swivel around when you heard someone coming through the jungle?" "Ah, your ears are amazing, Terence," Ellie replied, looking at her own large flopping ears. "But no, my ears are just the way I like." Now, almost back home, Ellie found a family of rabbits, all with noses wiggling up and down. Curious, the baby rabbits hopped up to Ellie's trunk and examined it closely. The youngest, Wriggly Rabbit, politely asked Ellie, "Miss Ellie, don't you wish you had a small little nose that wiggled like ours?" Gently lifting Wriggly up with her trunk, Ellie smiled and said, "No, my trunk is just the way I like." Arriving back home after enjoying her long walk, Ellie stopped at a pond for a drink. Leaning over, she saw her reflection in the water. She looked at her large legs, her long hairy tail, her enormous feet, and her wide, thick neck. She smiled at her wrinkled skin, flopping ears, and long, curving trunk. "Don't you know," she asked her reflection, "that you have the perfect body for you?" Look at that beautiful reflection. The reflection smiled back at Ellie and replied, "Yes, Ellie, don't you know?" The end.